Hey, Paddy Main, this is take 4, man. I keep cocking up, never mind. But no, absolutely fantastic. Brilliant defence stats, and you'll see why as we go through why you've got a 45% defence stat. My challenge to you is with a couple of tweaks, could we get it nearer the 50? And I think we can. First of all, fantastic fobs, brilliant, exactly how you'd want to be. I'm looking at your defenders here for your garage. I'd maybe go 1-1-3, get obviously 1 out at 16 and the second out at 16 rather than 3 out at 48 is kind of what I'd be tempted to suggest. Just get them out of that a little bit quicker. And same with the airfield here. I'm finding if a player wants to take out your airfield, it's because he's worried about it. So if you go 2-2, say 5 for example, or 2-2-4, and get obviously the second lot out by 4 seconds as opposed to 6 seconds. It's just if they do airstrike you, I'll have 4 out at 4 seconds, where if they airstrike you'll probably have 3 out at 3 seconds, if that makes sense. You probably get that first run out, but I've potentially got an extra 1 up there by then, and I'll cover something else I've possibly spotted on your airfield. Helipad perfect. War Factory perfect. And again, just on the ghost here, I'd probably go for 2-2, and then you're going to get 12 seconds and then 24 seconds. You're going to have 4 out, where you're going for 36 seconds for 6. I like to have the ghosts out that little bit sooner, because they do cause all sorts of problems. They are very difficult to pick up, and they have fantastic range, and often they're hitting you from between buildings, and it's difficult to spot where you're getting hit from. So maybe getting them out a fraction earlier would be how I would potentially look at it. The Platoon Alpha, I don't know if you need Paladin. I'll let you know when I've got that myself. So you can just run on all sense on that one. I think would work quite well, but that could be an event setup that you've got, I suspect. Everything else, mate, absolutely fantastic. You haven't really worsted anything at all. Maybe a little bit on the spooky there, but obviously you've soon sussed that out. Mega weapons we're possibly looking at, certainly not essential, certainly not a SOG requirement, but I find them absolutely amazing to work with, and I think there's a place for them for the right type of player who's maybe a little bit more patient and taking the time. And I've certainly used my Overlord, that's now maxed, and my Valkyrie I use mainly for the drop, but that's enabled me to do certain event levels that I wouldn't necessarily be able to with the new adjustments. So brilliant work. Dragoons, I think that ties in with your Vault drop, so great work on that. And then your base, very little that we can spot that we can do different. So let me just reload that for you. 1 second, my man. So when I was looking around a little bit, I was just curious, just to triple check, and I'm sure you've already done it, that to make sure that the HF is as far this way as possible. I think you've got room to move that over a little bit more, and make sure obviously the War Factory is and the CC shuffled up as well. Obviously what you want to make sure, as I'm sure you're well aware, is that the flight path, the F-35 etc, comes down this way here, and not if you place it slightly wrong from kind of this direction here. So just make sure that's the case. And with that in mind, what I'm finding, because I've really sort of jammed it right at the very edge here, people often want to take it out even if they're not using air to get me, and that's meaning that while they're distracted taking out the heavy flak for no reason whatsoever, you're getting your scent spawn and things along that sort of line. And with that, which I'm seeing a great deal of, I'm moving my SAMs. I've got one SAM at this side, one SAM at this side, and one of the SAMs kind of like a little bit more hidden away, so that if they do go F-35, they're not kind of spotting the 3 SAMs, and often that'll take out all 3 birds and they never get a second strike in, which is absolutely brilliant for your defence. Obviously on that note as well, the fact that you've got 3 level 7 SAMs is absolutely fantastic for your level, and a load of hard work's gone into that, so really pleased for that for you. So things that I might suggest doing different, I'd probably bring the airfield and swap that for the barracks. I'm tempted to suggest that when your NEMs are circling around and around, that they're protecting this part of the base, but not perhaps giving as much cover to this side. I'd be wanting to get that a little bit more central, so the centre of my base is perhaps better covered by the NEMs, but that's just how I set up. I'd be tempted as well to maybe have a little bit extra diversity in your turrets. You do have you've got good diversity, but I'd probably put in, I mean, I've gone for a railgun in there for close in, so when, you're getting the light vehicles running through, you've got that going off. I'm thinking that potentially, if you looked at all the centre spot of every single one of these turrets, when you look at the, kind of zone underneath the turret, its blind spot, if you will, if I park just about here, will I be under the blind spot of several turrets? I suspect the gatekeeper here will obviously pick us up, possibly even to a degree that PM, so you might have actually got a nice kill zone. But I'd just be tempted by changing a little bit of the diversity setup to make sure that you haven't got this little sweet spot perhaps about here where actually 5 or 6 of your turrets are all of a sudden out of range because you're underneath them, and that's where I've gone for the sort of railgun method, and I've also gone for the extra kind of howitzer in there as well. In fact, I've got 2 top end howitzers because I'm finding they're really good for pound and ground for fobs. I think people forget about the pound and ground because of obviously scents and things like that sort of line. Thinking, PMs aren't going to quite sort of cut it, and same with the howitzers. But we've still got to be fob proof as well, and I found that to be quite a success. So yeah, by again, howitzers on this sort of side is working well for me. Railguns kind of in the middle for that increased overlap, and I think that's kind of the only few things that I can spot really. So yeah, check the flight path, potentially shuffle a little bit more this way, if you find the need, maybe have a little bit of sort of close quarter railgun. I say I'm having good success with, especially with the light vehicle rush attack, and I'd maybe possibly just bring the base in, just because I'm just thinking if I come at you from this side, for example, would this side pick us up? Are you kind of so well spread out? You're obviously airstrike proof, but if you come at this sort of side, will these sort of turrets pick you up? So maybe just kind of have a little think. Click on each turret, look at its dead zone underneath it, and make sure the other turrets have got plenty of overlap. But also, make sure that you've got a whole range of turrets here that potentially can you get underneath and be kind of sheltered from them. So just have a little sort of look at that. But other than that, brother, absolutely solid base, really, really good, and very, very pleased to see it. Take care, brother.